Did you know that just by making one of these mistakes while raising your chickens can end up costing you hundreds, if not even thousands of dollars in the future? In this video, I'm going to be showing you what those mistakes are and how to correct them, so let's go. So the first thing is having an extremely aggressive rooster. I'm not talking about roosters that'll attack you. I'm talking roosters that are attracted to chickens. Ones that'll mate with the chickens just about every single second of the day. So my rooster Falcon over here is one of those examples. I did not say the actual word because, well, why would I say it? So these chickens right here, they'd be laying much more consistent if Falcon was a little bit less aggressive to the chickens, because when roosters mate, they tear off feathers. You see Summer right there, that barred rock? She's losing all her feathers because the rooster's attacking her. And when the rooster attacks her, she basically uses all of her energy trying to regrow the feathers, but it gets wasted because then the rooster rips them off. So that's why you sometimes experience random drops of egg counts when your rooster's in mating season. It's usually from about maybe mid-April to probably maybe about mid to late June, but also goes again throughout the summer, but on a lesser scale. Another one is pretty obvious, but this one is like very heavily ignored. It's hiding in plain sight. If you're allowing your chickens to eat your eggs, you need to get rid of those chickens, because there is a very slim chance that they will stop eating the eggs, because once they discover that eggs are good they like eggs, they won't stop, and they desire those eggs all of a sudden. They basically become an addiction there. Eggs are basically the new type of crack for chickens, I guess. I don't know. But like, yeah, when the chicken discovers them, it'll start like eating the eggs and sharing it with the other chickens. Now, we do have a chicken. If you notice that there's that chicken right there with some bands on her feet, that's because she's the one that's been eating the eggs in this flock. We're trying to find a new place for her where the chickens are a little bit less egg heavy, and that's what I'd recommend. But if you really can't find another home, well then I'm sorry to say this, but it looks like you're gonna be having some chicken for dinner tonight. Another thing is refrigerating your eggs from pastured chickens. Obviously, if you clean the eggs, you have to refrigerate them because, well, keeping them refrigerated is a must if you clean them. But if they're very clean when you grab them, I'd recommend separating them. The clean ones and the ones that require you to scrub off all their crap from the eggs. Now, this is not really as costly as the mistakes are, but seriously, it can definitely save you a couple quick dollars every now and then. So, and plus, well, it just saves you a lot of time and hassle, and also space in your refrigerator before you sell these eggs. Because obviously, who would want to like designate an entire section of their refrigerator to just some eggs? I wouldn't do that. I would just designate an entire fridge to the eggs. So another one is allowing broody chickens in a production flock. If you're hatching out chickens using a broody chicken, you don't want them in the production flock. These chickens love having all the nesting boxes free. And it's quite the surprise when your chickens are laying in random locations and having their eggs stolen by copperhead snakes or whatever snake. We always have our eggs stolen by copperheads if they're laid out there by the garden where that rabbit is. But yeah, you really want to make sure that your chickens are laying in the coop, and if you notice that there's a chicken that's constantly in a box, you're either going to A, want to remove her because you don't want a broody chicken, or if you do want a broody chicken, relocate her to another separate area. I would not recommend something like that strawberry cage. I'd recommend something like a hoop coop with all the doors, windows, nesting boxes that you need, but it's also really easy to build. I'd recommend that sort of things, and you rabbits are going to get out of here before you eat all my chicken feed. Oh boy, now it's time for ones that, if you have really expensive chickens, this could end up costing you loads of money. Have you ever just decided to free range your chickens? And let's just say you have 11 chickens, and you put them away at night and there's 9 chickens. It's the dirty work of some form of predator usually, or they're sleeping on the tree somewhere just to get killed by an owl the next day. That's what happened to Puffy Cheeks. I thought it was a hawk, but it was probably an owl. But you want to make sure that they're not free ranged, unless of course you want your chickens to die, then well, go ahead, I don't care. Free ranging chickens does expose them to a lot more. And I'm going to show you a quick little statistic from my farm flock. The bobcat wiped out 72% of my chickens, including multiple black copper marins, which are very expensive chickens, Belforpingtons, barred rocks, Easter eggers, a lot of silver-laced Wyandottes, which also are pretty expensive. Same with one of my gold-laced Wyandottes, and a lot of my other chickens as well have been just utterly wiped out by the bobcat. It wiped out just about 72% of those chickens. We're adding an additional 25 this summer, so they should be just fine in there. Keep in mind, that was nearly $400. Plus the loss of my ducks and chicken burger amounts to nearly $500 of losses because of that one thing. And think of the amount of egg losses. Predators are just so annoying, and no matter how many times you scream, give me back the $750 you robbed from me, they're not going to give you back that $750 because they're just going to keep killing your chickens. Say screw you, and they're going to hop in and take the next chicken. So pasturing them with a secure fence will keep 98.5% of the predators out. Another one is allowing your chickens to stay warm in the winter. I'm not talking about keeping them warm in their coop. I'm talking about heating their coop. I'm talking about keeping their coop at like a steady 98.6 degrees for the entire winter. You don't want to do that. You do not want to do that. First of all, there's the fire risk because, well, heat lamps and even just space office heaters are just major risk for fire because like they'll ignite if they even touch like one small thing. Well, you want to make sure that those are completely out, and as well as also keeping heaters out of the mix as well. You want to make sure their coop is about 40 degrees. And I'll tell you a quick thing. Over the winter, we had a day where it was negative 22 to start out the morning. The chicken coop was sitting at a very nice and warm 49 degrees Fahrenheit, which nowadays it sits at well above 70. And with the freeze coming tonight, it's supposed to get as low as 26. It should be able to resonate the 70s, and they're nice and well for the chickens. I'm not saying you should keep it cold. I'm saying that if you keep it warm, you're going to trick them into believing that it's warm out, and they'll start laying eggs again most of the time. And if they're laying these eggs constantly, then guess what they're going to do? It's going to cut their lifespan short because they have a designated egg season. Rather than just like having it all at once, their lifespan will be cut significantly short, and guess who's going to have to get new chickens afterwards? It's so annoying. So don't heat your coop, but keep it moderately warm. That's why I'd recommend like a little like latch. It'll keep the heat in the coop, but the chickens also safely inside or outside of the coop. So the last one is going to be leaving your chicken feed out in the open. This is quite possibly one of the most costliest ones, considering I'm up here in a really isolated portion of the United States, and it gets really expensive to buy chicken feed. Like sometimes for the 50-pound bag, it's $50 damn. So you need to make sure that you're not putting that to waste, because if like rabbits or crows are getting in here and eating all their feed before the chickens even get a chance to get to it, or raccoons, better yet, or bears come and get to it, then, well, you're gonna have to buy more and more, and eventually your chicken money is gonna dry up and there isn't gonna be a stable income. So keep in mind, a flock of 1 dozen chickens is about $2,500 to maintain every single month on average, but there's definitely workarounds that'll definitely get that number below $750. So I'd recommend some slight workarounds that'll cut that down a bit, but even with that, it'll still cost you thousands a month sometimes if you're just allowing bears, raccoons, and especially bears, because not only that, they'll also take the feeders, and they'll also cause some slight damage to the coop. And by slight damage, I mean destroying an entire wing of the coop, which has happened to some people around this area before with the black bears. So I'd recommend making sure that your coop is secure and everything else, because coops cost sometimes $3,500 or more to build. And if you're like ridiculously like rich and like decide to like build an insane coop for like 15 grand and just gets knocked over by bear, well, who's gonna have to spend 15 grand again? So this is easily the most costly one and can pile up just in the course of a week. You can lose hundreds, if not even thousands of dollars, and your little chicken money won't be able to support it, especially in the winter when, well, there's little to no eggs being laid by the chickens. In a flock of 1 dozen chickens, you get, on average, get about 4 to 8 eggs per week in the winter. In the summer, you get about 6 to 12 eggs per day in a flock of 1 dozen chickens. And if you found any value in this content, please like and subscribe. I'll be dropping more videos similar to this. I drop a chicken video, a gardening video, And then every couple times I drop like a miscellaneous video in between. So if you want to stay tuned for more similar videos, I'd recommend clicking like and subscribe. And I hope to see you in the video on the screen right now.